The first thing she had asked me was, how did I find her? And I didn't want to tell her that I had seen her name on his bank statement that I had found in the apartment. I told her I figured he would be messing with someone in that area, so I started searching up females with the same area on Instagram. Told her that we had mutual followers on Instagram. I was just on her page and I was looking at her little story bubbles, and she just happened to have one for Puerto Rico. So I clicked on it and I was watching it, and I thought I heard a familiar voice, so I figured I'd write you and ask. She said that they did go to Puerto Rico together, and this was literally weeks before I met this man on the Facebook dating app. I told her he did tell me that he had just recently visited Puerto Rico, but he didn't tell me that he was with anyone. Then I just basically told her everything that happened, every little detail. I sent her the screenshots, I sent her the receipts. We talked about everything. Then we started matching dates up. The first time that I had met up with him, they just happened to not be together that day. I told her the name of the apartment where we had met up at, and she said that that was his apartment and that they were staying there together, but she said only occasionally because he was renting it out on Airbnb. So when he wasn't renting it out on Airbnb, they were staying at her mom's house. I had told her about how he had told me how he had just moved down here from LA and all that, and she had said he told her the same thing. I had asked her where they had even met at, and she said that he had wrote her on Instagram. I showed her the messages about how he said he had a girlfriend the entire time, and that's why he had me sitting outside, and the video of him kicked up in the bed with his feet crossed playing music. So I asked, was that at your mom's house where he had sent the video of him laying in the bed kicked up chilling? And she was like, no, that was a new apartment that he had to get because he got kicked out of the apartment that I had first met him at. Said that apartment wasn't even in his name. It was in one of his friends' names, and that the property management at the apartment complex had found out that he was basically doing Airbnb and they didn't allow that. Said that there had been a notice given to vacate, and he did. They were moving things out of the apartment and they had the furniture sitting on the curb. She said they turned around for 2 seconds, renter center swooped up and picked that shit up so motherfucking quick. There wasn't even no words to be said or arguments made. They got their furniture and left. He tried to get approved at another apartment across the street, got denied. Oh, and the apartment complex that he was just at and had to vacate from, they called up Airbnb and let them know that he was violating guidelines and policies. So she said that Airbnb shut his account down too. Now, I might have had a little something to do with that as well because I called Airbnb and reported his ass too. Then she said that a detective did call him and told him that they knew what he was doing in the area and basically gave him a warning to watch his actions. And then she related it back to the apartment complex denying him approval because she said that she thinks that the detective has called around to all the apartments in the area and was letting them know about this little approval thing that he does with apartments and letting them know that he's basically a scam and don't approve him. Said that he had tried all the apartments in the surrounding areas after that, but none of them approved him. So then that's when they had to go over the bridge and get an apartment further out. And that's the apartment that he's at in the video that he sent me of himself in the bed, kicked up with his feet crossed. The furniture that was in the new apartment was from Renter Center too. Said he asked her the same thing that he asked me, to open up an Airbnb account and to put this new apartment on her account since he had just got his banned, but she said it never ended up happening. And this apartment wasn't even in his name, just like the last, and it was in a different friend's name. I asked, well, are y'all still at this same apartment? And she said no. He had to vacate from that one too. Was barely there for even a month and a half. Said that they had gotten into a really bad argument, which led to a physical altercation because he likes to put his hands on women, which led to the police being called, which led to the property management finding out and giving a notice to vacate, which was this notice that I've already posted before due to his lies trying to say that I was the reason why he had got kicked out of his apartment. Far from the truth. So now I'm asking about the stuff from Walmart, Best Buy, the money that I had got out the ATM, if he had gave her that. She said that after that altercation and him getting kicked out again, that they did continue talking and he was actually staying with her at her mama's house because he had nowhere else to go. She said that he did have family in Columbus and was from there, and that she took him up there a couple times, and there was no house there either. He was staying there with his daddy. I told her about how I had called his grandma and that how he tried to say in the messages that that wasn't even his grandma and that his real grandma was dead. And then that's when she told me that that's not his blood family and that he was adopted. When she went up to meet his family, they was calling him by a different name, and she was confused, and then that's when she found out that the name that he was going by was not even his real name. And said that his family does not call him by this name that he is out here going by, trying to say that that's his real name. She said that after he had to vacate the first apartment, the one that I had met him at, that basically he told her she could have the TV and the carpet for her shop because she does lashes. Said she had just mounted the TV days before and she already had the carpet down. She had only had the carpet, the TV, and the wall mount in her possession. She said that I could come get it if I wanted to do so because she felt like the whole situation was just out of hand at that point, and she just couldn't believe him, what he had done, him lying, just everything. She was like, why would I want to keep and have some shit that was bought from another female with my boyfriend that he said that he was going to pay her back for, and he lied to me about it. Said the only reason why she had even had the stuff in her shop was because he didn't have nowhere else to put the stuff from where he had got kicked out both apartments. Said how was he going to try to give her some shit that he didn't even pay for in the first place, and again, lied about it. I had sent her the Walmart receipt, so she had seen the drill on there that he had specifically got to put the TV wall mount up, and she said that I could have had that back to try to take back to get my money back, but when they had rented out the Airbnb to a family, that's when the property management had found out, and when they tried to go knock on the door, the family was inside of there from where they was renting the Airbnb, of course had to leave, and she said when they left, they took the drill with them. Now I'm asking about the stuff from Best Buy. Camera, vlog equipment, backpack, phone case, all of that. I had even asked was she at the apartment when we had went to Best Buy and got all that stuff. She said she was. She said that she was even there the night before when he had came inside the apartment with the TV. I had told her how I had came over there early morning and I was knocking on the door, but she said that she didn't hear it. She just remembers that he had left out for the day. I asked her if he didn't have a car, then how did you think that he was getting around? And she said that she thought he was Ubering or Lyfting. She said that she had left out for the day and then came back to the apartment, and she said that everything that was bought, he had surrounded around him like presents, like it was Christmas. And she said he was playing with every single little thing. She said that he had looked like a little kid that had never got shit before. And she had asked this man, where did he get all this stuff from? And he had told her that he had just went shopping that day. She said that before he had got all that stuff, there was nothing in that apartment but the 2 couches in the living room and the bed in the bedroom that didn't even have sheets, a cover, or a pillowcase. In which I do remember when I had first met him and went inside the apartment, it was literally only those 2 couches in the living room. Mind you, I was under the impression from what he had told me about him just moving down here, just moving into the apartment. So I just figured that it wasn't fully furnished yet. I sent her the picture that was taken of me without my consent that he sent to me when he was trying to blackmail me. And she said, oh yeah, I know that's him because I got them drawers sitting right here in his clothes hamper that he left at my mom's house. Then I started talking about the day that he made me go open up the bank account and how he asked me to go to Atlanta with him. She said she was the one that was in Atlanta with him and that they drove her car down there. I told her about how he had FaceTimed me right after I left him that day, showing me that big stack of money, and that he was inside of a car. And so I'm asking, is that the Benz truck that he was getting wrapped matte black? And she said, no, ma'am, that was my car that he was in. I said, so the keys that was hanging from his belt loop that day, they were yours? And she said, yes, ma'am. I've shown this previously, but this is the video that he tried to post flexing the money and try to make it seem like that I was with him that day while he had this money, but I wasn't. This is him in her car, in her purse. I said, so because I told him no to going to Atlanta and getting a rental, he decides to ask you. And she said, I'm assuming so because before then he hadn't asked her. It was off the whim. She had sent him money that day for whatever reason, and that's the transaction that I had seen on the bank statement, which led to me finding her. Now she's telling me how the entire time that they were in Atlanta, he was using the camera for everything. Made a music video, promo, taking pictures. She said I even had the camera in my hand taking pictures and videos of him. He's telling her she can even use the camera for a podcast that she wanted to start doing. I sent her each item from Best Buy, and she said that everything was still in his possession. Phone case still on his phone, backpack still on his back. She said he didn't leave nowhere without that. I had asked her if she could try to get the stuff back from him that was from Best Buy, and she said that he had already left the state. Said he was staying with her at her mom's house and then occasionally staying with his dad in Columbus, but he moves around, so now he's done ended up at his auntie's house in a different state. She said that she had his location and she could see that he was just basically staying at hotels, and then when he wasn't at a hotel, he was at his auntie's house. I said, so what about all these supposed properties that he has in each state? She said that she's never heard nothing about that and hasn't seen one property. Then she starts telling me how she thinks he's out there in the other state with another female. I said, well, I'm sure he's met her on the Facebook dating app. Of course, we went back and forth and we talked about a bunch of stuff. She said that he told her that he was out there making a music video. I said, for who? QC? I told her that I was being funny, but I was like, wasn't he supposedly signed to QC? And I was like, I'm in contact with one of his friends because I was writing him trying to get my money back as well. And he's the one that actually told me that Mr. Million was signed to QC, Quality Control Records, and that he had got the $800,000 advance, that was all facts. She said she never heard nothing about that either. Said that the real story behind that, of him even trying to associate himself with QC, was because he had a friend that used to actually be signed to QC. So I guess he's just living through him. I asked her, have you ever really seen any real money from him or on him? She said that basically throughout the relationship, some stuff that he paid for, some stuff he didn't. She said, but he always asked of her. If it wasn't doing something for him, then it was sending or asking for money. When he asks for shit, sometimes she says yes, sometimes she says no. So she thinks that's what caused him to go and ask other people. Said that he mainly got on her for not doing enough for him. She had kept saying how she felt bad for me and she knew he had took advantage of me because he was asking of things that he basically wanted from her. She didn't doubt one thing that I said to her because she herself experienced the same things with him. She said another female had reached out to her previously while she was talking to him, saying the same thing, that he owed her money. But she said that she was coming at her crazy, so that's why she didn't respond to her like she did to me. After going back and forth, we both came up with the idea that if I can't get any of my money back and he still has this camera in his possession and it's the most expensive thing that he has, it was $1,500 camera, that we're going to try to get the camera back. She had said that he had knew about her wanting to start a podcast and that he actually offered to her to use the camera for her podcast. She said that she was just going to play it cool with him and ask him to come back to her once he got done doing whatever he was doing there and to bring the camera so that she could do her first podcast. She knew that he would go for that and believe that, and he did. He was already coming back to her because her birthday was coming up, but she was telling him to come back sooner. She said that she was going to tell him that they were going to do the podcast at her suite where she does lashes and that I could just pop in and try to get the camera there. But then she said that we should do it in a public place. So she was like, I'm going to make a reservation at a restaurant. She was going to do the reservation at a restaurant with an outside patio so that way when they got there that I could just be waiting on the street somewhere and that she could ask him to go buy a drink at the bar, if he goes to the bathroom, whatever. When he's out of sight, I could just basically walk up on the patio and she handed me the camera. I patiently waited for the day for me to go down there and get that stuff. And I was going to bring people with me. A week and a half goes by maybe, and me and the girlfriend, we're texting and we stay in contact every day. And one day she just tells me she can't take it anymore. She tried to be cool. She's trying to stay cool, but she's just really disgusted with him. And she was like, I just cannot play fake. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm over him. I said something to him. She said that she asked him about me, asked him about the money, asked about everything. And he lied, of course. She said once he started lying, saying he didn't know you, calling you police, all these different things, I started to record him. How somebody else don't know what to say something about my gay though? Get the fuck out of here. Is who? What the fuck, dude? Let me the girl who reached out to me. She a CI. And that's what you said. How get that information? They need to ask yourself, but you make me so much you want to with anything, something negative. If you trying to break up with a nigga over some shit, how did somebody, what you mean? I don't have to spend all the money on your fucking birthday, nigga, over somebody else dead. I don't want to find a reason to come fuck with anything that's happening. And I do it all over your birthday. Like, come on, man. Serious. She's a stranger. Yes. You don't let, because you don't want to hear the truth. You just, I don't want to hear the truth. Bro, it's the fact that she literally has all the proof, all the receipts, and you still lying. A penthouse in Houston. I've been in Texas for 2-3 weeks. Like in a hotel in penthouses. Sweet, all on my story and everything. Okay. Hello. Okay. Okay. It's paid for nothing. Okay. This is story, bro. Nigga ain't got no peace, bro. Okay. I ain't even got no money, bro. Okay. Okay. Nothing. Okay. Nigga, for this only time I was supposed to get like, you know what? Okay. See what you pay for it. Out here. You ain't got no cheese. Them niggas ain't got no cheese, gang. You laughing. You know, my side, you talking about, you know, this nigga. Laying in my face, bro. You watching get this out the mud, nigga. I didn't want you to get nothing out the mud. I didn't want you. I'm still, no, nigga. Bring my face in, nigga. That's why I want to run from LA, nigga. I still, no, nigga. I still with them, nigga. I got real businesses. Niggas ain't got shit. Niggas is poor, niggas is broke. Niggas be hating on me on my dick. Nigga ain't got justice, nigga. They got shit. Okay. Niggas, these bitches torn. Like they're fuck. You know what? Watch this bullshit. Listen to that shit. Okay. You got here with the million real. 18 real. Get your here, man. You got that shit. Just don't make you watch me. Okay. Taking crib after crib. Okay. You vlogging, nigga. How you vlogging, nigga? And then work. And then come straight to you. Well. My cash out, my bank, all my address, my face. They are cheap right now to this day. Okay? If you're doing this much investigation and you found out where I was on the Airbnb, got snapped down, and we in communication, this and that, how come you ain't know I was at this street? My grandmother's grave, I seen you the screenshot. Yes, nigga, I told 4 million records by myself. Okay. 4 million, 4. Okay. Okay. I was trying to QC till Marlo died. Then they told around family that was a manager for community. Listen. I meditate. Facebook, he came. I did. Spend money on thousands. At the end of the day, I won. I'm winning. That's me winning. That's not even nothing. I have ever did some girls shit for. Does it matter? Why would I? Because she ain't the first bitch to be coming at me on some, he owe me money, all this other shit. You forgot? You call me a bitch? You call me a bitch? I did. Because you pissing me off. Okay, so you can disrespect. How you look out for me? If you looking out for me, you would have bought dope. You would have bought some business. You would have bought something. What I'm going to do with a camera in the middle of some hour shoot music videos? Okay. I got 2 videos. Okay, she told me. And you know, prison gang, I'm already getting put out of JRC. If a bitch don't spend 4 or 5 days, spend 4 or 5 days on my next screen. Why would I have to spend 4 or 5 days on a camera? I'm about to get put out for Airbnb. That don't even make sense. Okay. I'm not no dumbass nigga. Okay. I'm like to the press. You press me. Go to the press. You press over your shit for me. Watch me do this shit. You press me. Okay. Watch me. It's sorry. I'm gonna go rent my life on motherfucking shit. I'm gonna get put out of crib and tell them where to go. I'm gonna go buy a fucking camera and not do no winning. I'm home, but I don't make sense. When you bought something for me, I pay or your shit right back. Literally, not immediately. Don't start purping. Nigga, don't start purping. While they were on the phone, he also made threats against me, my family, anyone who associates themselves with me, even his own friend that was talking to me as well. He said that he was about to start putting cheese on people's heads. So when I heard him say that, my nice Nancy self, I text a friend and I say, look, don't associate yourself with him. Don't talk to him no more. He's making threats against me and also you for even talking to me. The friend replied and said Mr. Million woke him out of his sleep around 3 o'clock in the morning, calling him, and he asked, what did I say to him? I told him that I would call him and tell him and that I had just found out about the threats being made. And he said, yeah, he's upset with me for talking to you. And I just found out where he stays at now. He's moving to Detroit in a couple weeks and he's not moving too far away from me. And I know where it's at because he showed me on FaceTime. Now, I haven't said every little detail, but when I was on the phone with a friend, he was telling me about how he was from Detroit and that he felt like when Mr. Million asked me to drive to Detroit, that basically he was just coming to see him. He said that around that time, Mr. Million was telling him that he was going to come up there and visit soon. I replied and told him, we're just going to talk over the phone. I was still talking to, at the time, the now ex-girlfriend, and I had told her that the friend had just told me about Mr. Million calling him in the middle of the night, and she tells me Mr. Million done called her sister in the middle of the night as well, demanding for his money back that he had just spent for her birthday. Whole time she was telling me that, I was just like, wow, this man really crashing now that the shoe is on the other foot. She was then telling me that another reason why she couldn't wait and had to go on and say something to him was because she had basically seen him with another female on his social media. Of course, being his girlfriend at the time, she has a girl already coming to her telling her that he owes her money, and then she sees him with another female. She just had to say something. Then she's like, well, I know what he's capable of. I know how he is. He could possibly pop up on me. I don't know. So I suggest that if you want this TV, the wall mount, and the rug, that you should just go on and come get it now. I told her that I could come pick the stuff up the next day, and she was like, cool. Not too much longer after that, the friend had called me asking about what Mr. Million had said about him. I told him that I was in contact with the girlfriend and that she was going to come let me get my stuff. He was telling me about how when he had spoke to Mr. Million, he was telling him that he was in Michigan and about this new spot that he had got. I told him that's all false. The girlfriend got his location and he's not in Michigan. And I said he's not staying at no properties. He don't got no new spot. He's staying at hotels, suites, and penthouses like he said. Now he like, so he just lying about everything. And I said, you're just now realizing that? We had went back and forth and then we eventually got off the phone. The friend texted me out the blue and was like, I want his drop. And I sent back laughing emojis and was like, wish I had it. Then he was like, I'm about to put a bitch on him. I'm like, shit, he gonna bite on that for sure. These specific messages that I'm talking about right now are the messages that Mr. Million tried to post, trying to make it seem as though I was trying to set him up. When all in all, he was just telling his friend what to say to me. But I'm going to get to that. I said that nigga's a snake with so many faces. Why you think he called you in the middle of the night? He was trying to see what you knew. He said he's dumb as fuck and he moves wrong. I said, literally. And he's fucking with the wrong people. He's really trying to carry out this lie to the grave and he's really going through the most. He said, I'm going to tap in with my cousins in Atlanta because I know he goes there and I can't put a female on him here in Michigan because he's stupid, but he's not that stupid. I said, I'm sure you'll think of a master plan and he thinks you stupid for real, but he can't play in everybody's face. I said, I just wanted to let you know beforehand before he tried to do some silly shit and blindside you. An hour later, the now ex-girlfriend calls me and she's like, I don't know what he's on, but he's bugging out and he's threatening me. And I would just feel better if you go on and come get the stuff today. She said she even had to change her number. I'm like, what the fuck? But I didn't hesitate. I jumped right up and got right on the road and was heading on my way. As I'm on my way to her, I get a text message. And after I got this, I instantly called the now ex-girlfriend and asked, what is going on? She said, I don't know what's going on, but the friends done texted and called me, and then he said that you gave him my number. As they were talking on the phone, he's basically just trying to turn us against each other. Said she didn't really give him the time of day, hung up on him. I said, well, I didn't give him your number, and she said that she knew that and that she knew that it was Mr. Million just basically fucking with her. I'm like, just like how he's fucking with me, trying to text me off a text-free app, trying to intimidate me to not come. When we got off the phone, I literally had a pit in my stomach because I knew then I had fucked up again. Being way too nice and way too trusting, I should have known that the friend was playing me the entire time. When I pulled up to her shop, I literally lapped around a couple times because I said I got to check out the scene before I just pull up. I knew his bitch ass was trolling me, but I still had to make sure for my safety. I let her know that I was there, and when she came outside the building, we both were so hesitant towards each other because we really didn't know what was going on. I was looking every which way. I'm like, is this really about to be a setup? When we had got up to her suite, the door was shut, and when she had pushed it open, I literally held my breath. It ended up only being just us two there, and the TV, wall mount, rug was just sitting right there waiting on me. We sat there, chopped it up for a few seconds, laughed about it, and then she helped me take everything to my car. I was still trying to prove myself to her that I was not lying about what I had bought. My ass, I even brought the damn phone case box and the box for the little storage disc that he had brought. Once he had got in my car, he instantly opened half of that shit and he had just left the boxes in the trash in my back seat. I literally didn't even realize until that day when I had went up there because I had cleaned my back seat out to put the TV in it. She didn't give a fuck about that shit. She told me she believed me. I was there for less than 20 to 30 minutes, but I left up out of there with the stuff. I barely made it halfway down the road. I get another text message from a different number. I'm like, okay, Mr. Million. One, you know whose number you're texting and who you're talking to. Two, you went to Google my name, and you found names associated with me. You thought you ate and found my dad, but William is my uncle. And I told you that my dad got into a motorcycle accident, not that he was sick. Three, you hope me and her can fight. For what? Then he calls me. I'm like, okay. So I called the detective that I had spoke with previously, told him about everything that was going on and if this was something that needed to be added to my case. He said that it wasn't relatable and that I needed to go to my local police department since it had happened here and not there. And also said that it hadn't been any updates on my case yet. It was already getting late by then, and I knew the police station would be closed by the time I got back. I texted the friend and I told him, "You've been playing both sides." And he replied and said, "No, he hadn't, and he's been at work, and he was about to call me. This man called me. Of course, I did not answer." I had got home at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. I had been driving, adrenaline rushing, thoughts going crazy all day long. So I was just chilling out. As I'm doing that, I get another text message from a different number. Once he texted me this, I knew then that in fact and indeed that it was him texting and calling me all day long from all these different numbers. The total ended up being 4 different numbers. Not even 5 to 10 minutes after I get that text message, the friend texts me and asks, did I text him from a different number? I didn't respond at first, but then I thought to myself, did Mr. Million text his friend trying to act like he was me and on some other shit? So I just replied back and I said no. That next morning, the friend texted me and asked me, did you get all your stuff? I didn't even respond back to him. I blocked his number. Not even an hour later, I kid y'all not, my sister is calling me telling me that a random number done texted and called her phone. After she sent me this, I just went straight to the police station. I went to the police station, filed a report, and they just set a court date for me to go to get an EPO on him. They told me that it takes up to a week for them to file the police report, so I would have to wait until then to pick it up, and then the week after that, I would have the court date. As I was leaving from there, I had texted the now ex-girlfriend and let her know that I had just went and filed a report on him, and she told me that she had checked her Instagram DMs and seen that she got a message from a random girl. She said that she was fucked up for talking to me and that we were trying to set him up, and if anything were to happen to him, then it's up, and she was just letting bitches know. And I was just clutching my pearls. I was like, is this the girl that you have suspicions of, that you think that he's with wherever he's at? And she said yes. I was like, let me check my messages and see if I have a message too. And sure enough, I did. It was in my requests. This is the message that I had got. Then later on in the day, I get this text message, and an hour and a half after this message, I got a phone call. Of course, I didn't answer or respond. I already knew that it was Mr. Million trying to fuck with me and play games with me. I wanted to respond so bad, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take this to court. 2 weeks I went by, and me and the now ex-girlfriend were texting, just checking in with each other, and she was telling me that she had talked to him, and he's still lying about everything. She said I just couldn't take the line anymore, and I stopped entertaining him, and I told him I'll just wish you the best. Then she said when they had talked that he told her that the friend was, of course, just basically playing both sides, and sometimes when me and him were on the phone that he had Mr. Million on three-way. The day that the now ex-girlfriend had played the recordings for me from their phone call, and my nice Nancy self had told the friend about it, when me and the friend were on the phone, he had Mr. Million on three-way. So that's what prompted Mr. Million to start making threats to his now ex-girlfriend, and that's what made her tell me to go on and come get the stuff that same day. I was just so mad at myself because I done got played again and I did not read the room right again. But I took full accountability for my dumbass actions. That next day, I was just in my thoughts and in my head like I always was at that time. And in that moment, I was just like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm about to write this girl back that wrote me. He thinks he can have people writing me, threatening me. I'm about to respond back. She asked if it was cool to call me. I said that it was. As we were talking on the phone, she's telling me that the only reason why she was even in Texas with him at the time was because he asked her to fly out there to him. He told her, pay for your flight, I'll give you the money when you get here. She got there, he never paid her back. She was like, I even seen the camera from Best Buy myself. We were taking videos, pictures, all of that. She says, he even told me what to type up and tell y'all in those messages when I wrote you and the now ex-girlfriend on Instagram. I was not surprised at all because he is a bitch, and that's what bitch ass niggas do. He thought he could turn all of us females against each other. I told her, I said he literally had you out here trying to defend a lie that he is going to try to take to the grave. Went back and forth with her, eventually got off the phone, and later on that week I had court for the EPO. I had went to court and it got continued because he hadn't been served yet. When I had went to the police station and they had looked him up, they had found several addresses for him, so they went to try to serve him there, but of course he wasn't there. I was just like, damn, I'm wondering how long this process is about to take and if they're even going to have luck with finding him. I just remained having faith, kept praying, kept telling myself everything was going to be okay, everything will work itself out, and that's when I considered getting myself into therapy. People talk down on it, make fun of it, and it's like it's taboo in black culture for some reason, but I knew that that was going to be the best thing for me to help me mentally and emotionally. Being vulnerable and transparent and expressing everything about yourself in life, I had just felt like it was just so beneficial and refreshing for me. One day my therapist had asked me about updates on my case and if I had spoke with the detective recently, and I told her I hadn't and that I would give him a call, and I did. When I called, he happened to be out on vacation, and I asked to speak with the supervisor or someone, and I did. He pulls my case up and he says, well, it looks here that it's concluded and that the detective has closed it. I was just like, what? And how is that? When I last spoke with him, he didn't tell me that nothing was closed. He said that in the notes, he just seen that it basically said my word versus his. I was pissed off. And I asked the supervisor, I'm like, so why didn't the detective call me and let me know that he closed the case? And he said he didn't know either why he didn't do that because that's something that they're supposed to do. Said that he was going to send him an email and let him know to reach out to me. I was just like, whatever, okay. I had already posted him in a group on Facebook that they have for women to let other women know to be aware of men out here like him. And I was like, you know what? They have a group for each state. I'm about to put him in every single group for each state. I had just felt like it was the right thing to do to try to bring awareness to this man. I had already had women writing me from the group about the post that I had made, but once I posted him in multiple states, more women began writing me. One girl even sent me this disgusting post that he made on Instagram, and she said that this is another way that it seems that he targets women. I continued with therapy and my healing journey. About a month later, my friend had sent me something that came across their FYP. Once I seen that, I was like, okay. Now he should be a changed man, right? And he should be ready to admit to his wrongs, right? I was like, if he got baptized, then he must be a God-fearing man now, and he's changed. I knew I couldn't reach out to him, though, due to my case against him with the EPO. I had reached out again to one of his relatives that I was able to get in contact with. No, I shouldn't have done that, but yes, I did. I said, I'm not trying to bother, and I understand that this has nothing to do with you all, but all I'm asking from his family is to just ask him to do the right thing. That's it. I had never got a response. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I woke up to comments underneath my posts on Instagram from a fake page. I had seen the comments in my notification center on my phone, and the main one that I had seen was him saying I was a sorry ass excuse of a prostitute. So I clicked on it, and when I clicked on it, it had disappeared, went away, whatever. And that's when I realized that he had deleted that comment, but he had still had all the other comments up. I already knew that it was Mr. Million fucking with me again. I did not put it past him because if he's already texted me from text-free app numbers, I knew that this was him on this fake page. That's when I realized that holy water that he had got dunked in did not work. And he is still the same person and he did not change. 2 days later after that, I was in my head and in my thoughts, and I was like, you know what? It's time to tell my story. This man done everything in his power to try and break me down. It was a nice try and he almost got me, but I couldn't let that happen. Since I've been telling my story, he's tried to intimidate me to silence, but that's not going to happen either. Now, the picture that he had posted that he took without my consent, that almost got me. And that's the reason why a lot of women haven't came forward, because he has pictures and videos of them as well. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep talking about it. Oh, and just recently, I got another text message and call from another different random number. I really thought I was getting punked. For real. I was like, he cannot be serious. And that's another reason why women don't want to come forward, because of those type of actions. But I'm just going to speak for everyone. Everything that I'm about to post are messages from people that have seen my story and reached out to me. They've came in encounter with this man and they're sharing their experiences with him.